For many years, I have asked myself the same question. If I had to make a list for my top 10 movies of all time, which ones would be in it? How about TV shows or songs? And usually I can answer these questions fairly easily. I do think about it often, after all. My top movies are Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Treasure Planet, and La La Land. TV shows are Stranger Things, Scrubs, and The Haunting of Hill House. Songs are Goner by 21 Pilots, Blackbird by Alter Bridge, and Heroes by David Bowie. But with video games, my answer seems to change the most. Sure, my top 10 movies has changed a lot over the past 5 years, considering I watched La La Land for the first time in 2020, but what really is my favorite video game? I know that somewhere in early 2013, my answer would have been The Walking Dead Season 1. And it would be for a few years, even though I had never actually finished the game myself. I only ever saw PewDiePie play it, and it easily became one of my favorite video game experiences anyway. But then in 2015, I played Life is Strange, and The Walking Dead was kicked off its throne. Years passed, and now when someone asks me, what is your favorite video game? I don't know. I don't. I still love Life is Strange. The story is one that's super close to my heart, and because of my love for time loop stories, this is about as close as it gets for me. But is it still my favorite, or do I just really like it? I've talked before on this channel about my struggle when it comes to finishing games. And when I do finish one, it often means so much to me that I did that the game I finished tends to jump up that list of favorite games as well. Even when the game was just alright. I loved Her Story, I loved The Beginner's Guide, and I really loved Firewatch. But are they part of my list of favorite games? No, I don't think so. But then, how do I know which games are? How do you actually pick your favorite game? I think it might be a matter of feeling. Remembering how you felt when playing the game, and feeling a certain way when thinking or talking about the game. The first game that comes to mind is Jak and Daxter, The Precursor Legacy. A PlayStation 2 3D platformer of which I've played the first half of the game about 1 trillion times. Or so I learned a couple of weeks ago at least. I love it. Thinking about the game and those memories just fills my heart. But I also remember what it feels like to play the game because I still boot it up every few years. It's an experience that cannot be replicated. So yes, of course, it's on the list. Another game that I cannot stop thinking about is StarCraft 2. A massive RTS game that's incredibly difficult but super fun to learn. I'm really bad at it, but does that mean that I can't love it? Absolutely not. I haven't played it in a long time, but I remember back in 2015, my parents were away on vacation and I was home alone with my siblings. I booted up StarCraft 2 and my friend and I played it till like 5 in the morning. He was good at it, I was bad at it, and it just didn't matter. We had such a blast, the experience was everything, and the memories and feeling it created were priceless. I would spend my free time, or even time during classes that I should have definitely spent on more important stuff, learning about the game, figuring out build orders, and just watching people be really cool at the game. I love it. It is definitely on the list. I honestly don't think Minecraft needs a clarification. Of course it's on the list, even if I don't play it as much anymore, or barely even enjoy playing it nowadays. After all the time I have spent playing it, of course it's on the list. It's Minecraft after all. No game has ever made me feel the way that game has. But of course, time spent on a game does not equal my love for it. I have nearly 1,000 hours spent on Counter-Strike Global Offensive after all, but trust me, that game could never make it on the list for me. I don't hate it. It's got a special place in my heart as well. Some of my favorite gaming moments ever happened when playing that game. Some of the funniest moments I've ever experienced were in one of the game's many competitive matches. But while the game is super fun and has an awesome community filled with incredible people who come together to celebrate the beauty that is Counter-Strike, it just doesn't make me feel the same way the other games I mentioned do. I don't get goosebumps thinking about how I shot that one dude in the head on Mirage. I don't get a rush imagining throwing a molly at someone on B-side on Dust 2. I don't care. They're only memories of good times. Not much more. But now you might still think, that's great and all, but which of the ones you have mentioned is your actual favorite? And that is obviously a fair question. Well, let me tell you, none of them. I think that I actually have two favorite games. Two games that I think of regularly for completely different reasons. One, a story game where the gameplay is alright, but I'll never get sick of revisiting the world and the characters. And the other, a sandbox game where the gameplay is simply legendary. The former one is Bioshock Infinite, a game I really wish would just get remastered already. The game is beautiful, the story is incredible, and the music is phenomenal. It is so good that I sometimes just open Spotify and I just play the entire soundtrack and try to get rid of the songs that are definitely not in the same style and somehow feel like they're from a really crappy rom-com movie that's from like 2010. If only they did make Bioshock Infinite again, with optimized graphics. I don't think I'd ever stop playing. Again, I do think that the gameplay is alright at best, but it's a story game after all, so that doesn't really matter to me. But the latter of the two games might actually be my favorite game. One that I would talk about every day if I could, and sometimes I do. One that I will always recommend to anyone even slightly interested in the genre. And that game is Factorio. 1 year after playing Minecraft for the first time, somewhere in 2013, I discovered this mod pack called Tackit, because of the YouTube group The Oxcast. This would become the thing that I would spend most of my free time on for years to come. It's Minecraft, but you can automate everything. That sounded so weird, yet so fun to me. And when I heard that there was a whole different game that was basically that, but it looked even more satisfying, like you're making your own computer chips, I knew I had found a gem. This was 2017. Now I have 233 hours spent on the game. Not nearly as much as many other people do, but to me, that is a big deal. That right there shows how much I really like it. And I know that I just said that that's not necessarily the case if you look at Counter-Strike, but it is definitely the case with Factorio. 99% of this time was spent playing the game by myself. Hundreds of hours spent playing a game by myself says a lot, I would say. I finished the game a couple of times and I plan on doing so many more times, especially when the expansion eventually drops. I will enjoy getting in trouble because of my past self's actions and hating him for it. I will love every second that I get to look at conveyor belts being completely filled up or trains exporting a ton of items. And I haven't even dared to look at any mods yet. Yeah, I think Factorio is my favorite game after all. But who knows what it will be in another 10 years. So tell me, what is your favorite game? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear it. I am super excited to learn about these, and maybe you'll give me a new game to play. Subscribe. See you all next time.